So just log in and then you're in your WordPress dashboard. So there's a handful of things I like to do prior to setting up my WordPress site that make your life a lot easier. And here's how to do them. The first, you go into settings and go to permalinks down at the bottom. And this is one of the things that WordPress does out of the box that isn't SEO friendly, but it's easy to change. So by default, WordPress will give you posts and pages that use these really ugly end of URL parameters, and they're not really good. It's very hard for search engines to understand these. So you want to change the default to post name. So go down to post name and hit save. Next is your theme, right? So WordPress will give you a theme out of the box. There's a number of free themes that come with WordPress, and there's also a lot of third-party sites and marketplaces where you can get really nice WordPress themes. So let's say I really like this one. I would go in here and activate it. And my new theme is up and running. My Hello World post, which comes with WordPress by default, is here. Next, I want to install a new plugin. So once you're all set there are two plugins that are absolutely necessary before you get going. So we'll go over to plugins and we'll click add new. And again, one of the really nice parts about WordPress is there's this incredibly comprehensive ecosystem around it. You can get lots of plugins and themes, and there's lots of third-party developers that are creating great things, and they're usually either free or very cheap. So the first one is called WordPress SEO. It's by a guy named Yoast. And it's a really good plugin. Just type WordPress SEO, and you'll see it'll be the first one. Look for Yoast. This is a really good plugin that handles a lot of the difficult SEO stuff behind the scenes. It takes care of a lot of the headaches that you'll have. So just type WordPress SEO or WordPress SEO Yoast and install that, and then activate. So this plugin wants to track you. You can do that if you want. I usually don't. And then you can go down here and go to the dashboard and check the plugin out. And there's a lot going on here, so definitely take a look at this. Spend some time, go through everything. But what we're really doing here is making your life easier from an SEO perspective. So I can show you, for example, if we're going to add a new WordPress page, right? We can call this Tommy's page. We can say this is my new page. And so what this plugin does is gives you this little module within your page. And it allows you to modify things on a field by field basis. So let's say I wanted a different title. This is my real title. This would give me a new title tag, right? Check this out. And this is my awesome meta description. So you can make these modifications right in the post right here, which is great. You can give it a keyword, right? So if my keyword was real title, this will actually give me a score and tell me whether or not it found my keyword in these things. Now, the problem here is that some people take this a little too literally. You don't need to follow this to a T. If your keyword is not exactly in the title, it might be okay. So you can use this as a kind of like a meta check, but don't worry about it too much if it's telling you that you're missing things. You can do other things more specifically in advanced and in social. So if, for example, if I wanted to no index the page, I can do that here. You can tell robots to follow or no follow. There's sitemap stuff, authorship, canonical URLs, and 301 redirects. And I can also set all of the social media stuff, right? The Facebook title, the description, Google+, all of the data that's written in the source code that makes sharing on social media sites really nice. All of that's in here. Going back to the dashboard, we can leave this page. We're not going to save any of those things. One of the other things that's an absolute must-do is set up Webmaster Tools, and you can do that with this plugin as well. So just input your Webmaster Tools verification code here, and then hit Save. So there's a number of different ways to verify Google Webmaster Tools. The default way tells you to download an HTML verification file and then upload it. But you can click alternate methods, and there's a lot of different ways to do this. You can do it through an HTML tag, your domain name provider, Google Analytics, or Google Tag Manager. It's super easy with WordPress to do it with an HTML tag, right? So we'll just copy this, head back over here, paste it in, and hit save. One last thing, you'll want to come back to Webmaster Tools after you've pasted in your code, hit verify, and now we're verified. So one last plugin that I definitely recommend before getting started is the WordPress Google Analytics Yoast plugin. So we'll go back to plugins, we'll go to add new, type Google Analytics Yoast into the search. You'll see it's the first one, right, by Yoast. Install this now, and this is just an easy way to manage Google Analytics. There's a ton of different ways to install Google Analytics into WordPress. This is just a really nice, easy, simple plugin. We go to activate. I usually do not allow. In settings now, you'll have a new feature called Google Analytics. You can click this. You can authenticate with Google here. Now that you've authenticated your Google Analytics account, you'll want to set up a Google Analytics account for your website. If I go to Google Analytics, access it, and I'm going to admin here, and I want to create a new account. Whoops. So now that I'm creating a new account, I'll create an account name. Call this Piranha Apps. Whoops. We could also call this Piranha Apps. So the account name's Piranha Apps, the website name's Piranha Apps, the URL is piranhaapps.com, and get tracking ID. So it's going to give you a Universal Analytics tracking ID and the code that you need to add to your site. So you want to come back here, re-authenticate with Google, select your profile, and then hit update. And you're good to go. Google Analytics is now installed. Okay, we are almost there. So we have done keyword research for our company. We created a keyword blueprint around that. We bought a domain name, we registered it with DreamHost, and we got it hosted. We installed WordPress, we configured the URL structure so that it's nicer, and we installed 2 plugins that make life a little bit easier. Now we're going to kind of mash it all together and set the site up for success in the future. So there's this concept of posts and pages in WordPress. It really depends on what you're doing in order to determine what's preferable to you. I personally like pages more than posts. So we're going to create a few new pages. The way I like to think about it is pages are more like actual web pages, and posts are more like blog posts, right? But you can use them in a lot of different ways. It really just depends. So we're going to add a new page here, and we have our blueprint up here. And I'm just going to set the site up for a successful future, and just create the URLs and the pages that we determined based on keyword research. So the first one was mobile app developers, right? So I might type something like mobile app developers up here. When you click out of the title box, the URL comes up in a little bit, and because of the settings we set for post name, it's a really nice SEO-friendly URL. This title will be wrapped in an H1 tag by default. WordPress is good like that. And I'm just going to write, this will be my page for mobile app developers. Coming soon. Whoops. And so, the design stuff that you do is all going to depend on your theme. We'll just set this to full width for now. Right? Mobile app developers is my title currently. This will be my page about mobile app developers. So I set this up. If I wanted a reminder for what my primary keywords were, I could take this and throw it in here. Not necessary, but I can. And rather than publish this, I'm going to save it as a draft. So this is saved now. And now let's add a new page. And we'll do the same thing. Let's say the next one we wanted to do Android app developers for hire, right? So we'll go up here, we'll go to the title. It's Android app developer for hire. We click out of that field and the URL should come in soon. And we'll grab this and paste it in here. Just as, again, as a reminder. Doesn't really matter what the template is. Remember, all of our meta description is here. Social stuff's here, right? Facebook title will be here, any of that. And again, we're going to save. So we're not publishing any of these, we're just saving them as drafts. Later on, we could go to all of our pages and we can see these here, right? So these are not necessary. This was a sample. I can just delete these for now. Move to trash. And I have all of our pages. So we can do this for all of the pages that we created in our blueprint, set up the site, and as we're ready, we can populate them in the future with really good content.